Welcome back. Here we are, 10.4, last page of the lesson. So only homework after this, easy peasy. Um, so they give us this big, old, long, drawn out thing. You know how I love these little parts over here, but I'm gonna do my best not to mess that up. And then I like this problem here at the bottom. It's really pretty straightforward, and it's one that I would expect a fifth grader to be able to do. Okay, so it's like on a test or something like that. So if I look at this, I get a local animal shelter. There are 12 small sized dogs, 12 little doggies, and 5 medium sized dogs. Okay, so now we've got a couple of things we got to worry about. Every day, small doggies get 12.5 ounces of dry food. So small dogs get 12.5 ounces, and the medium dogs are given 18 ounces. So this makes sense. Bigger dogs get more food. I mean, just think, does my answer make sense? Okay. How many pounds? So we're obviously going from ounces to pounds. Pounds are bigger. I need less of them. So I will end up doing some division here, right? Okay. So what are you asked to find? The number of how many pounds of food served each day. Okay, that's what we're being asked to find. And what information are we going to use? How many dogs, and how much they eat, right? So we've got 12 small dogs. Each get how much? 12.5. Okay, so we're going to do some multiplication here. And we've got, how many little doggies are there? There's 5 medium dogs. 5 mediums each get 18, right? And so our expressions are going to be 12 times 12.5 and 5 times 18. All right, those are our expressions that we're going to want to get the total number of ounces. Then I got to do what? If it's this and that, what does and mean? Add, right? So what conversion will you need to do to solve the problem? We're going to have to go from, what are we looking for? All of our ounces, right? And we're going to convert those into pounds. So we're going to go, we will go ounces to pounds. 1 pound equals 16 ounces, right? You should know that, okay? 16 ounces. All right, so we're talking weight here, not capacity. I know it can be confusing. So the steps, well, what we said, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna put them all together, right? So let's put this down. We're gonna go 12.5 times 12. I always like to put the big number on top with more digits because of the way I do it. So whatever way you like to do it, just keep it consistent. And when do I worry about the decimal? At the very, 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 very end. So I'm not gonna worry about the decimal. I got 1 on top, I'm gonna end up with 1 on the bottom, but I'm not gonna worry about it until I get there. 2 times 5 is 10. Good. 2 times 2 is 4, of course. Plus 1 is 5. And then 2 times 1 is 2. Cross that out. Okay, what do I put here? I go to the next number. Every time I go to the next number, I add a 0. Okay, because it's 10. And then 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 1 is 1. So that looks like it works out pretty good. 0 plus 0, 0. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 plus 2 is 4. Plus the 1 is 5. And then 1 plus nothing is, of course, 1. And where do I put my decimal? I have 1 on top. I always underline it, and I underline here. I put 1 on the bottom. So I've got 150 ounces here. So this is small. Now we're gonna go medium. It's like we're at a restaurant. I'm gonna put 18 times 5. No decimal makes my life easy peasy. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5 plus the 4 is 9. I get 90. Okay. They're not giving us tons of room for all the work they're asking us to do, but I'm going to take this 90 and I'm going to add it to this 150, right? Because I need total ounces. So here I'm going to go total ounces And I would put 150 on top. And I would put 90 on the bottom. Notice I dropped the 0.0. I don't need it. Okay, if there's a 0.000 whatever, just drop it. You don't need it. Just turn it into a whole number and don't worry about that stuff. Okay, and then draw my line, put my plus in here. 0 plus 0 is of course 0. 5 plus 9 is 14. And my 1 up there, and 1 plus 1 is 2. I get 240 ounces total. This is ounces. All right, now I need to find pounds. So this is where it gets a little bit tough. I've got to divide 240. I'm going to write it up here so that there's room to do some multiplication. 240 divided by 16. Okay, so the first part's not too hard, but the second part gets a little bit more difficult, okay? And so we got to decide how we're going to do things. So I'm going to take 16 from 24. About how many 16s do you think I can take from 24? It's 1, right? And we should kind of have somewhat of an idea because we've been doing a lot of 16s, you know? 16 times 2 is 32. We've seen these numbers floating around. But this is definitely 1, and I subtract 16, okay? And if I tried to, I would just multiply 16 times 2 down here. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 1 is 1 plus it's 32. I know that's too big. I can't subtract that. So I'm going to subtract here. 4 minus 6 is, of course, 2, right? No. I'm going to cross off this 2, make that a 1, and I got to borrow. 14 minus 6 is 8. Okay, 1 minus 1 is 0. And then I bring down my 0. Now, here's where I got to decide. About how many 16s is an 80? That's a much bigger problem. So what number, if I have no clue, some of you I know do, if I don't know, what number do I always start with? 5, right? It's right in the middle. And then I'm going to know how far off I am. Or maybe I'll nail it. Who knows? But I start with 5 because it's right in the middle. And I know if I go up a little bit or I got to go down a little bit, and I'm going to be there. Okay, so I'm going to start with 5. So I'm going to take 16 times 5. 5 times 6 is 30, right? Put my 3 up here. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 3 is 80. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to put a 5 here, and it's 15, because 80 minus 80, that's 0, right? So it's 15. Now they're going to make me fill this in. I hope I don't mess it up, so don't judge me and don't laugh. Complete the sentences. The small-sized dogs eat a total of 150 ounces. Oh, yeah, I got that right. Medium-sized dogs eat 90. The shelter serves, look at that, 240. My goodness, we did this nice. That's 240. Don't lie. Don't judge me. All right, that's 90. All right, and then how many pounds? 15 pounds, right? That was our answer. All right, good work. Let's take a look here. Gus, great name. Gus is painting his house. He uses 2 quarts of paint per hour. 2 quarts of paint per hour. He paints for 8 hours. How many gallons does he use? So this is a good one, right? What am I going to have to do first? If he's using 2 quarts an hour, right? I got to go from quarts to gallons. I got to know, first of all, know how many quarts he uses all together and then convert to the gallons, right? So pause this. What would you do? Okay, you're back. Hopefully you came up with, I would take the 2 quarts he does each hour and I would multiply it by 8 because he does it for 8 hours. So I'm going to go 2 times 8 equals 16 quarts. Total, right? Okay, pause. What would I do next? Now pause. Okay, you're back. So I want to go from quarts to gallons. Gallons are bigger, so I need fewer, so I divide. So I'm going to take my 16, and I'm going to divide it by how many quarts in a gallon. Quarts are like quarters, right? 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. That's right. So it equals 4 gallons. Yeehaw. All we got left is homework. All right.